Hey, it's Ryan and Haley with Ticor Title. What's up, girl?
Hey, what's up? Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you guys are having a great week. We kind of got a little crisper weather in the mornings, I feel like.
It might hit the 60s, you know? It was pretty gnarly there for a second.
We all see the meme where San Diego has like all 4 seasons in one day.
Yeah.
Like, it's so true. It is so true.
Welcome to 80 and 90 degree fall in October in San Diego.
Yes.
So we're coming off of Ask the Audience, where we had an overwhelming poll response to do subject 2. And so we've had Ask the Audience, we've had Plays of the Week, and this week we're at Top 5. What are we doing top 5 today?
We're doing top 5 things to do when opening title, or just like maybe the first 5 things to do when you're going to get title and how that kind of works. So, and just want to say thank you guys as well for chiming in and helping us out with the Ask the Audience and that kind of stuff. It really helps us figure out what you guys want to hear. So thank you
for the feedback. It definitely helps us. And yeah, I mean, it was a great segment. I didn't know all that much about subject 2, and now I do. And so now we're going to go over the first 5 things. So when you get a listing, or when that seller calls you, or there's a lead, what are the top 5 things to do as that lead progresses into a listing?
Right. Yes. Okay. So we always, we like to think as what we would do, how we would act if we were an agent, and how you would go about getting title. So, if I got a call from a lead and somebody was like, hey, I'm thinking about listing my property. I've seen your advertisements. Can you come over and run my property? Take a look at it.
Right.
So first thing I would do is I would hopefully you have an app from us at Ticor that you can go in and you can pull your own profiles, or send us a text or an email and we'll get you a profile over. Want to confirm your vesting, so you want to make sure that person that called you, the person that you're going to be meeting with, is the correct seller. We've run into that before where, it's a trust and the person that's the trustee is not who you're meeting, and it blows up in that circumstance because...
make sure that the interested party or the person calling you, family member or whatever, it may be them and their property, but it might be held in a different entity than they thought, or they may have thought it was still in joint tenancy and it had been removed to community property, or they put it in a trust, took it out of a trust to refinance, etc. Or it could just be a guy that's totally trying to scam you. So, we've gone through each of those scenarios. Number 1, get the profile, and you could text, Facebook Messenger, call, smoke signals, email us, whatever the best method for you. And we usually turn those around in about, 30 minutes, if not faster.
Yeah, so I would definitely get a profile. Also, it gives you an idea. You can see what mortgages are on the property, what solar is there, what the what tax information is. It kind of gives you just a basic general outline. It gives you comps. It gives you... what else is in there?
Tax information, the assessed land value, the improvements, square footage, the metrics of the property, all
so
that
it gives you a really good outline. So it gives you a really good educational kind of synopsis of what you're going to be looking at and what you're going into when you're going to be listing this property. So I think it's really important to always do your research prior to going in meeting with your seller. So know what's on the property, have that information, make sure you know what you kind of gauge what they might owe on the property, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and at this stage, before you even get to ordering title, definitely get a tax roll. It's called a tax roll or a tax sheet, because the Mello-Roos and HOA are really clearly spelled out on that one sheet, kind of tax info sheet called the tax roll. It's not contained on the property profile as part of that platform. So just ask for the profile and the tax roll, and you'll have everything you need. And that's before you even get to opening title.
Yeah, that's like a ninja tip.
Tip of the day.
Ninja tip. We haven't said that in a while.
Oh my gosh. Well, because the solar stuff we've been harping on.
Yeah.
That's where it appears. Sometimes it runs with the property and shows up as a HOA or some kind of a Mello-Roos we've seen them, or it just says right there, 1, 2, 3 solar.
Yeah, so it's really important. Just do your education. So that would be number 1. That's what I would do. Get a profile from the title company. Step 1. And then what would you do? What would step 2 be, right?
Step 2, I'm looking at once you get that listing signed, call
us.
Obvious
that you're reading something.
What's that? Oh, is that? we're trying out a teleprompter. Work with us, people.
We typically do this on the fly. We typically don't have an actual script. So
now we're trying to do all this nuanced kind of specific title information. I have to study and stuff. Come on. Back to you in the studio, Alex.
So, number 2.
number
would you do?
2, once you get the listing contract signed, you got the ink, you got your listing, right? Call us, text us, email us, let us know, and we will run the prelim. There's the important distinction between property profile. We can get you the judgments, the liens, and copies of all that stuff, which is like a profile on steroids with the tax roll and everything. But the prelim is the official title report that we will close your transaction with, that gives us the kind of to-do list of stuff we got to clean up to close with clear title.
Right, and the prelim will also give you an idea of what kind of easements are on the property. So if there's an SDG&E easement, if there's a sewer line, all that kind of stuff, it will give you that exact layout. It will show you what's on there. We'll have a map with plotted easements as well. So, you know, there's a huge difference between the profile and the preliminary report. And so when on their preliminary report, it also tells you, you know, your matters on there. So it also tells you your water rights, the exclusions on that, tells you, and it gives you a huge layout of, like, it really does a deep dive of if there's any more liens on the seller's name. So that's a really good, like, that's something that a lot of people don't know, is the profile doesn't run the names. Because imagine if it's a very common name that we have here in San Diego, and you run that name and you have over 5,000 liens, and we're not capable of knowing which is which. But if you do the full preliminary report, once you get the listing signed, it gives you more of a laser focus of, like, okay, these liens may be our person.
Because they run the social and they run the APN. Right. On the profile, we don't have the benefit of running the social security number for our seller. And so I know a guy that his dad has all kinds of gnarly judgments and liens, and it follows him to every property he goes to. So he just anticipates it. He's like, listen, here's my dad's social, here's mine. You're going to have to X out like 20 different things from him because my name is exact same. And so a lot of those juniors kind of bear that burden, you know. But at the prelim point, we get a lot more insight. And the GI index search and general index search and all that stuff we're able to remove and see, because a lot of times you'll see a tax lien that's attached to a social, but it has yet to be attached to the APN. And the IRS is crafty that once that thing goes pending, a lot of times you'll see them all of a sudden it attaches to the APN.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that kind of leads me into our next step, which you kind of just segued in perfectly. So once you get that preliminary report, in that report there is a statement of information. And so you can have your seller, if there is some liens on there, something that you're not really sure of, have that seller fill that out. It will give us their last 10 years of residency. It will give us their social security, their driver's license, that personal information that all appears on child support liens, mechanics liens, all those kind of things. So get that from your seller, get it back to us at the title company before we're even in escrow, and we can run that report, get the SI taken care of, and clear out some of those liens that may not be our actual seller.
Yeah, so, I mean, was there one of those liens that maybe was a similar name, like George Morales, and the initial was different in the middle, then they can see the social, compare the social, and
well, because you don't want to scare your seller and not really review a report, send it over and have all these liens on it, and then be like, oh my gosh, this isn't me, and then you guys all kind of have a panic attack because you didn't know you had all these liens on there, and you're like, oh my gosh, we're not going to net anything. We have to make sure we do. There's all these liens on here. So
and it may not even be theirs to worry about yet. That's why notice we haven't said confront seller yet.
Right. So get your preliminary, get that, and then make sure to Team 2020 exclamation point. And then make sure to get that back to us so we can run it and we can make sure that there's that the SIs and everything match up. So that's kind of the next step of once you get that.
And what was 4? I think step 4 was call into Candy, call into Marshall, call into Karen or Marina.
Once you get that report, once you get the SI back, and then you can call your title. So send that back to the title company, and then review your report. Call your title unit, call your friendly title reps. I worked on a title unit, so you can always call me as well, and we can review the preliminary report together. We can go over it, see what's on there. It's really, it makes it a little easier once we have the SI, so we can clear out if there are any judgments and liens prior to reviewing it with anybody else. So we can go.
Yeah, and we have done this where even if we're not the provider on it, and we work with obviously a lot of listing agents, but listing agents have buyers, and the buyer says, hey, this is 1, 2, 3 title. Can you guys look at it for me? And so we are happy to do that for you. It's something that we extend. I understand some of these aren't super readable or accessible. So bring it to us. Candy, God bless her, she's so inundated. She does as many as she can, and then she has her team do the same. And in 20 years in title, I know enough to be dangerous. She was actually a junior title officer, so she knows what. And Katie was on the title unit as well. So we have people on the team that know this stuff. You know,
Karen and Marina, they're awesome as well. They handle a lot of files, and they will definitely help out and review. So anything you guys need for reviewing purposes, I think it's really important to get that done. Make sure
it really is.
Yeah, and make sure you know, like, have a general idea of what you're looking at. Call us so we can go over it with you. I think it's important to have a working knowledge of title, especially since, you know, we're ensuring the new buyers free and clear of any judgments or liens. So it's kind of a big deal. I mean, it's required in the state of California.
For a reason, and the reason is because clear title, that's their security in the property, right? So a lot of us dismiss, oh, it's title, or a lot of agents, a lot of bankers, a lot of people, oh, it's just a title report. Is it clear or not, right? It's just black or white. When you lean into it and educate yourself, and it's another touch point to show your professionalism, to show your experience, and to show that you're covering all sides of the transaction, right? You're still in the you just listed it, it's just active. Maybe you're fielding offers, but you're really securing the trust by sitting there and saying, hey, here's the prelim, here's what I've seen. We have eradicated all the stuff that doesn't belong to you or the property. So now these are the things we have to contend with, and this is why it's important. So you take a simple thing and shine a big bright light on it, and then in so doing and educating the seller, you gain their confidence, right? And you're the authority at that point because you're really examining and showing them, listen, I am not sparing any time to focus on every detail of this transaction.
Yeah, well,
it's big.
Ryan just let us write in the number 5. So after reviewing with your title company, after reviewing with us, after making sure all those liens are wiped off, then I feel like it's time you can present it to your sellers, your buyers, and tell them, hey, this is what we have on your property. Is this clear? Your mortgage, is this correct? And kind of go over it.
Step 5.
So step 5, that's when you review it, because it's really good to have all the working education background, know what you're going to go into, versus, just sending off the preliminary report to your sellers and it having maybe a bunch of crud on there, and they see that and their eyes get huge and they're like, well, we can't afford to sell our home. Like, there's no way. We can't pay off these liens and stuff, so we're going to stay in it.
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah.
Right, and it's dead before it even begins. But if you take the time, take the 5 steps, order the profile with the tax roll, check out the solar, check out the Melrose, check out all that stuff. Number 2 is once you have that listing signed, you call us and we open up the prelim. And then what was step 3?
Step 3 is once you get the prelim back, review the prelim.
Order the SI, right?
Well, first you have to get the prelim.
Oh, yeah, get the prelim.
So you get the prelim, review it, see what's on there. And on the prelim, there is the statement of information. It's kind of in the back, so it's after all, like, the kind of junk and wire fraud and all that stuff. So it is back there. I know a lot of us don't get to that page. But there is a page back there that is a statement of information. So review your prelim, call us, go over it, see what we can do, get the SI back to the title. So SI step 4. Wait, 3. Step 3.
And then
get it back to the title company.
And when you get the reviewed and updated prelim, go over that with the unit. And then step 5.
Get it to the seller.
Sit down with the seller and sit with them. Have a cup of coffee over it. Look at it. And like I said, it's like, it reminds me, there's a line in the contract, a listing contract, that says that you get paid even if you don't sell the house. It's kind of an archaic little clause in there. And I remember one of our clients used to just take that with the client and just say, look, I don't work like this. It says I get paid even if as long as this contract is active, I get paid even if I don't sell your house. Like, even if you go with another agent, as long as this contract is valid, I get paid. I don't work that way, so we're just going to line that out like that, right? So they might not have even noticed that clause in the contract unless you brought it up to their attention. But because you did, you made it a focal point. You showed your integrity and earned their trust that way by saying, look, do you agree that that's not any way to treat people? And they'll be like, yeah, okay, cool. Well, let's just get rid of that. Would you initial and I'll initial? And then we just amended the contract. And the same thing here. The prelim can be a monster thing, or you can just glaze over it. But when you take the time to educate it, sit there, spend the time and pour into your seller. This is a relationship that hopefully is going to be referring you down the road. And we've all gotten referrals. And what do they say? They took the time to really make sure I understood. Well, this is the kind of thing that makes that referral happen. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, totally. When people know that you take the time to understand versus just throwing it to them with all their escrow packages. I mean, they're already having so many documents to sign, so many things to look at. I mean, why don't you be the kind of that hold their hand through it, say, hey, this isn't scary. It may look scary, but this is a standard
This is
report.
why you got me.
Yeah, and so I think that's really important to do, especially if you send them a report with like all their easements and stuff on there, and they're looking at all these maps and they have no idea what the hell they're looking at.
Yeah, and you're leaving it up to the escrow officer and how they package documents. That's your customer receiving that. And they might be like, what is all this? Right?
Yeah.
It looks like a manuscript from Hollywood or
Yeah,
something.
it's like this thick, you know. I've seen escrow packages come in. They're huge. Like, so they're already getting a lot of stuff, and it's already very overwhelming. So just kind of make sure that they know that you're there for them. The title process will be taken care of. You work with a great team who completely understands title. We know how to
We'll
move
be part of the
things.
process with you. You don't have to be a title ninja. You have title ninjas. Would just have your repeatable process that when the title comes out, you have every transaction. That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
Yep.
And you get better and better and better, and it really puts them at ease.
Yeah, and if you have a good TC, they'll also review the preliminary report. They'll let you know if there's any flags on there. You know, having a great TC as well, working with that, I think really helps. We coordinate a lot with TCs and getting documents and stuff like that as well. So
well, won't it flush out any other objections or any other questions or any other concerns or uncertainties the seller has, right? You're sitting there, you have an open forum, and you're going over the prelim, which we just told you what to do, and then maybe another concern comes up and you're able to address that, and that may have never surfaced if you guys didn't just do the simple thing of going over your prelim together. So it really is a nice open forum with the seller where you're talking business, because unfortunately too many of times, it's a sister, it's a cousin, it's a guy you know from college or whatever, that you don't want to get into the specifics, but this allows that to happen and kind of, hey, we're kind of in a business mode here. Then, hey, well, while we're on the business mode, I had this question too. So it's really, really cool. And it's a great way to not glaze over the details, because we eat, sleep, breathe this stuff, real estate, but they don't. So we have to take the time to nurture them and make sure they know what's up. We got their backs.
Totally. I agree. Well, I hope you guys found this one helpful. We'll let you guys get on to the weekend and enjoy.
Yeah, you're armed with the top 5. So when you have a listing, top 5 things, and let us know. We'll send you this recording or we'll walk you through it and how you can present this to your sellers. We're happy to be part of the process, happy to be part of the team. And
any questions you have, any other things you guys need, COVID stuff, let us know. We have all of that. So Haley with Ticor Title.
Ryan at Ticor Title.
All right,
we'll
guys.
See you next time
Have a good
on
weekend.
Ticor Title Talk.
Ticor Title Talk.